And actually, I guess just before you get started, we could do a quick little round of introductions since we have a little smaller group today. So maybe let's do that and then I'll introduce you, Alex. So my name is Nadia. You can use she, her pronouns for me. I am the Advocacy and Events Director for SBCAN, and I'll pass it to Jeannie.
Hi, I'm Jeannie Sparks, and I'm the Associate Director for SBCAN, and I'll pass it to Pam.
Hi, I'm Pamphlet Tambo. I'm with the League of Women Voters in Santa Barbara, and I'm a vice president of our programs and also social policy. So I've been really involved in criminal justice issues for the past 3 or 4 years, and also healthcare and, oh gee, I don't remember. I'm too busy to keep up with myself at this point, but yeah, that's mostly criminal justice is a lot of what I do. And Sarah, of course.
Oh gosh. I am Sarah McDonald. I use she, her, hers pronouns, and I live on the land of the Chumash. And also, I'm affiliated. I'm going to give you 3 of them today, not the obituary list. In AACP, I am on the board of SBCAN Health, and I'm also a member of the California Poor People's Campaign, a Central Coast representative for the region, and I'm going to be going to Washington, D.C. for the Moral Poverty Conference. And I'm going to my sister, Lowanda Alliance Pruitt.
Thank you, Sarah. Hello, everyone. Good evening. I'm en route home. Lowanda Lyons Pruitt, she, her, hers, on the board of SBCAN and president of the Santa Maria Lompoc branch of the NAACP. And then I wear many more hats. I will popcorn. How about Karen? Have you been?
No, thank you. Yeah, I'm Karen Mays, and I'm just a member of SBCAN and a member of the Santa Barbara League of Women Voters. And yeah, interested in what's going on in the community, although I haven't been very active, I have to admit, but it's like important to know these things, and yeah. So. And who is there to pass it on to? Anybody?
Ken. It needs to unmute. You have to unmute, Ken.
Thank you, Nadia. And so I'm Ken Huff at SBCAN, and I was just communicating with Gail Osherenko, and I just communicated with Nadia, asking Nadia to send the link to Gail. She's in a place where the power was out, and so she's aware that we're started and that we're going to take the C4 item first, and then she'll be next. Thanks.
Okay,
Nadia.
I texted it to her and I emailed it to her, so I'm not sure if there's a better way to send it, but
no, that's fine. She just didn't have power where she was, and so she was trying to get in, and nobody was in the meeting, and it's probably because she didn't have power. So she'll be here pretty soon.
I wonder if she has. Okay.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
Okay. Well, cool. That's everyone. And then we'll let Alex introduce themselves. So I wanted to invite Alex to come from C4 Lompoc. C4 is one of our award winners for this year for the North County Awards Dinner, and which is going to be on Sunday, June 25th, if you're not aware already. And we just wanted to invite Alex on to share just some of the work that is being done at C4 and how we can support and let people get to know them a little bit more. So Alex, go ahead, take it away.
Thank you. So I'm Alex Murkinson. I am the vice president of C4. I sit on a couple other boards as well, but in my paid job, I am the development associate at the Fund for Santa Barbara. And so I've had the fund for a little over a year now, which, and you know, it's super nice that the C4 is a fund grantee, and so it's really great to be super entwined with them. We are super grateful to be receiving the award from SBCAN, so we thank you guys all for that. So I'll go in. So C4 was founded in 2018. It's a Lompoc-driven coalition that identifies resources required to connect individuals with organizations, ensuring that all members in Lompoc have equal opportunities to thrive as productive members of society. Following the murder of Marlon Brumfield in 2018 in Lompoc, Yasmin Dawson, one of our co-founders, and Cozy Blow, our other co-founder, they came up with the idea of organizing a march to provide a space for people of all identities to kind of gather and mourn and unite for change. Yasmin and Cozy realized after that march that there was a lot of work that needed to be done in Lompoc, and there were a large amount of people that came out. It was in the news. And they know that there were a large amount of folks that were affected by violence. And so they decided to form the group C4 back then. And it was just at that time, it was just called C4 Collective Cultures Creating Change. And after kind of just wanting to be a little more, to identify as ourselves a little bit more, we threw C4 Lompoc on, threw the Lompoc part on. Later after that, C4 organized an anti-Asian hate rally and a peace march to honor and stand in solidarity with the victims of the racially motivated killings in Buffalo and mass murders in Uvalde, Texas. And to address the violence and the violence in Lompoc further, C4 organized a Pedal for Peace, which was a bike rally, which was a bike ride from Beatty Park to Ryan Park. And at the beginning of that, they had a bench put in that had a plaque of a bunch of folks who of the names of folks who died to violence in the area, and we were able to partner with the district attorney's victim witness program and the Cords Foundation in Lompoc to to do that work and invite the families out and to really honor them and to dedicate the bike ride and the bench and the plaque to them. C4 has remained, consistent since then. We've remained consistent in a few general activities. We were doing once for a couple years monthly collaborative meetings where we invited a person from the community to come and speak about a topic with our listserv, our general membership. And so we've had multiple people from, we've had Joanne Hartman there. We've had Joan Hartman there. We've had Anne McCarty from the North County Rape Crisis Center there. We've had a range of folks in the space to kind of just talk about, a topic that kind of resonate with the community. We did just scale that back to having 6 of those a year to kind of make them a little more impactful and to kind of allow folk time just to make it just a little easier for people to be able to attend those. In addition to that, we host our neighborhood block parties, walk the block campaigns, and Juneteenth in Lompoc in partnership with Lawanda Elfrant and NAACP. And most recently, we just adopted the Self-Healing Communities Project. Our block parties are intended to bring the community out, and they're targeted into specific low-income neighborhoods in Lompoc, and they're really meant and geared to bring out the community and have them create a comfortable space for them to, get out with their families for one, but then also voice their concerns about issues that they're experiencing or they see in the community that they maybe don't feel comfortable voicing in public, or maybe don't have, feel like they don't have the experience to be able to go to a council meeting and voice these issues. They feel comfortable in these spaces to do so. And then we can also kind of identify potential emerging leaders in those spaces and then provide some education to some of these underserved communities. And like I mentioned, we also have the Walk the Block campaigns, and these really are the prep work for the block parties. These are, once again, C4 is in the neighborhoods, on the ground, door to door. We hand out over 1,000 bags a year. And we're having these face-to-face interactions with people in the community, and the bags are, they're resource bags. So they have, kind of depending on what the climate is at the time, there's voter rights information in there. There could be mental health resources, just general medical resources. And these allow us to really get down and to invite, the individuals themselves to the block party, so they're not just seeing a flyer on a corner. We're actually inviting them themselves and giving them the resources, and still allowing them to have that touch point and that entry point. And we found this really beneficial because there's been a lot of moments where Yasmin or other people on the C4 team have been called by people in Lompoc who were experiencing violence, or someone in their family experienced violence or had a health issue, and they kind of weren't getting the resources they needed, or kind of weren't getting the answers they needed. We've experienced many times people calling us, and kind of us and somebody on the C4 team, Yasmin mainly, or Cozy, jumping in and going to the police station and kind of helping get some answers for some things, or making some connections with city council, or providing some resources with one of our partner organizations. We've had people who we had a mom who was expecting one time who didn't know how she was going to purchase some clothing for her child, and also provide some general care, car seats and things. She called us up and we were able to provide some of those resources for her. And then I mentioned our Self-Healing Communities project is a very new project we just started. The Self-Healing Communities will raise awareness about adverse childhood experiences, so ACEs, and the effects of trauma, and identify our community strengths, assets, and challenges, and develop and implement change-making strategies and projects resulting in development of self-determined leaders within the community. And so to be able to identify, and through the block parties, like I mentioned, identifying emerging leaders, we can find people and individuals that are in these communities that are raising issues that they notice, that are potential community organizers and potential leaders in their community, and kind of helping them and taking them through this training process, and kind of taking them through this process so that they can become those people that are advocating at city council and kind of are advocating for what their community needs. And so kind of just making it a full circle experience for them. As I mentioned, C4 is volunteer driven. We have a leadership team of about 10 folks on there, and we do all of this work. A lot of money comes out of our pocket, and a lot of it, and it's just we are here doing it truly is to just uplift our community. We noticed that we started at the march and noticed that there was something there that the community needed. There was something missing, and there was a lot of calls, and we stepped up really quickly to be able to organize and come together and really provide some resources for the community, and kind of just be that trusted table and catalyst that a lot of the folks needed in Lompoc.
It is hard to keep up with you. Thank you.
I'm so sorry.
Are you going to be the one to accept the award?
Probably not. I'm pretty sure Yasmin or Cozy will.
Okay. Because we give like 2 or 3 minutes on the acceptance speech. And then you might have to talk really fast to get everything in you'd want to say.
Well, in that case, I just might.
I think he's got talking fast down.
Well, that's why we wanted
to
have you come on this time to get a little bit more space to sort of be in conversation. A lot of times at the awards dinner, it's the first time a lot of people have heard about these organizations or made contacts, and you only really hear like 2 minutes or something. So,
and sometimes I've just met the person. So I'm executive director. Sometimes I've been the MC. I introduce people, and so I'm meeting them in the audience right before it starts, and and giving them my thoughts about what they ought to say or not say, or how much time they're going to have. And then I'm just meeting them. So it's great. This was a really good idea to, was that your idea, Nadia, or was that?
Congratulations.
Jeannie's idea. It wasn't mine, but a great idea to bring people to the roundtables ahead of the meeting, those who are available. Thank you for coming.
No, of course. Thank you for having me in the space. It's so nice to be able to talk about, C4 and the work that we're doing, and kind of, being able to, we're small and we're volunteer driven. And so it's that we don't often have the time to, or the resources to, get out and really get the message out that often. And so we really do appreciate being invited into the space.
Yeah. Does anyone have? Yeah, Karen, go ahead.
Are you only you're the only C4 in our county, correct? The only little chapter of it,
Yes, yeah, we are.
but it is
C4
national. It is national.
No, C4 is it's its own nonprofit in the city of Lompoc.
Okay. Wow.
Oh, boy.
Okay.
So
It keeps-
is it capital C, numeral 4?
Yeah,
Okay. Does
Yeah.
that stand for anything in particular?
yeah. So the C4 relates to the collective cultures creating change.
Okay.
I'll just do it like this.
Okay. And what does the 4 stand for?
It's the 4. So
The
collective cultures, the
4
4 C's.
cultures.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for collective cultures creating change.
Okay.
Oh, Nadia, I was just gonna drop the link for the website in there. Thank you.
I beat you to it. Great. Well, are there, sorry, I'm doing a little bit of multitasking, but are there specific ways that we can support C4 or specific ask for the community that you'd want to share at this time?
Yeah, I mean, see, we work to see C4 is always, we always accept donations. That's very nice. And so, you know, we can donate via the website if you want. You can donate via check, you know, via to our office if you would like. But then also just in general, like, you know, we're always open to any form of a partnership. We are always looking to kind of expand and, you know, to go into more programming, kind of our, you know, building the resource. Like I said, we do a lot of giving out of resources to the community that they might not know is out there yet. And so, you know, any resources or, you know, any partnerships in any form, you know, I'm always available. I can put my email in the chat. But feel free to reach out to me in any way, and I'm happy to, you know, get you where you need to help facilitate any conversation. But I think, you know, like I said, we are, you know, we're small and we are always looking, we're in a very massive growing stage right now. And so any resources, if you want to donate, we appreciate that as well. And that's, you know.
So you do have now a 501c3 status?
Yes, we've had C3 status since 2020 or 21.
Great.
Do you hear from people like from tenants experiencing like tenant issues? Because that's something, I'm part of the Santa Barbara Tenants Union, and we are trying to sort of expand to, or we have been expanding to other parts of the county, but Lompoc is sort of one place that has eluded us a little bit.
Yeah, we haven't. We have started hearing more, you know, more in a bigger uptick from like about the houselessness situation, and I feel like we are going to soon branch into that area. We're looking to add we're looking to add a new school program, and I feel like going into the schools and kind of being more involved with the students, I think kind of we'll start opening up a little more issues about a lot of these things, and I feel like we will eventually start hearing some more of these about some tenant issues. But we like houselessness is one of the first things that has recently come to the front.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, it's all connected, right? But I understand like that's more like the main thing for people, but cool. Does anyone else have any questions for Alex?
Go
go
ahead.
No, you first.
Alex, you did a great job. I couldn't have done that. I had that much information. And when I did my speech for last year, I felt like, deer in headlight kind of thing, but you did well.
Thank you. Thank you.
And congratulations to C4 and to you and Yasmin and Cozy and the wonderful work you do.
Thank you. We really do appreciate it.
Yeah, and I wanted to add, you know, along the same lines, congratulations on everything you're doing. I also just went to your website to see what's coming up, and I see that you and NAACP are doing a Juneteenth celebration. If anybody's interested, it's June 17th in Old Town Lompoc, and that sounds really exciting. I think that so you've been doing this for 2 years. Did you want to say anything about that event? It sounds like a real good thing.
Yeah, so Juneteenth, you know, this will be the third annual Juneteenth celebration in Lompoc in partnership with the NAACP. I unfortunately won't be there this year, which is really sad, but it's gonna be in Old Town Lompoc, which is gonna be nice. It's been at Ryan Park the past 2 years, and kind of, Old Town is the heart of Lompoc where most of our events take place. And so I think it's gonna be a really nice turnout this year. I think. Like I said, June 17th from 11 to 5. If you want to donate to support that, you can on the website as well. And yeah, and if you're interested in sponsoring that event, you can reach out to myself or Lawanda. But yeah, it's gonna be a really great event. It's been great the last 2 years, such a beautiful turnout. Yeah.
Sounds really good. And it's interesting that you're partnering with NAACP, because we really appreciate Lawanda's work with SBCAN and everything that she's doing, and her and the NAACP. So that's really nice.
And we really appreciate Wanda for driving this one.
Okay, great. Any last comments or anything else you want to say, Alex?
I don't think so. I just really thank you guys all for allowing us to come into this space and allowing me to talk about C4.
Cool. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for making the time for us. And now we're going to switch over to our other topic. Alex, you're welcome to stay, but I'm sure if you have other things going on, yeah, feel free to stay or move on with your day. But Gail Osherenko is here and going to share about the issues coming up with the county jail. So go ahead, Gail.
Thank you. Thank you for tolerating all the chaos in my life today. Somebody hit a telephone pole down the street from us and knocked power out in our entire complex, and it played havoc with everything. So I came over to a friend's.
Oh, wow. I'm glad you made it.
Pam is here too, and she's all over this issue too. But I wanted to get on your North County agenda today because on Tuesday, the Board of Supervisors is going to be asked to make the critical decision that League of Women Voters, Criminal Justice Group, and CLUE's, Santa Barbara's group, Clergy and Laity United for Economic Justice, have been working on for 2 years. And this is the big decision as to what are they going to do about remodeling the old jail or rebuilding at North County. And only today, we've been talking with Tanya Heitman, who's the Assistant County Executive Officer in the CEO's office, used to be Chief of Probation. We're really thrilled that she's there. And we talked to her this week. We also talked to the attorneys in the Murray case. So I assume everybody knows. Bye, Alex. Good to see you there. The county is being sued by attorneys because of the poor conditions in the jail and the lack of treatment for mental health and medical and not meeting ADA requirements. So they are presenting the board, the CEO's office is presenting the board with 3 options. I believe the CEO's office supports the first option, as do the League and CLUE. And what we really need is people to call your North County supervisors and tell them that you're for option 1 too. So I'll just run through those 3 really quickly. You can go to the county Board of Supervisors meeting, look at the agenda and click on the various items, and you'll find this letter from that's written from the CEO's office by Tanya and Jeff Rapwell and Patrick Zarowski of General Services. So the options are, option 1 is to construct 1 new pod at the North Branch Jail. So there's room for 2 pods. They were already plumbed, put in the plumbing, the basic, for being able to add at the time the North Branch Jail was built. So this is the easiest and cheapest way to add beds. 1 pod would be 256 beds at the most. The North Branch Jail already has 376 beds, but only 344 of those are considered rated beds. The sheriff wants 1,095 rated beds between the two jails. This would, if they proceed with option one, constructing one pod, they would be adding these 256 at North Branch. And in any case, they would be adding they would be renovating 128 beds that are attached to the IRC, the intake and reception center of the old jail. So those have enough beds that they are able to renovate to meet the ADA requirements. And that would result in a system-wide total of 728 beds, rated beds. And we can live with that. Today, the jail has 749 residents. We never use the term inmates. The second option is to direct staff to proceed with obtaining designs for option 1.5, which would be new construction of 1.5 pods for a total jail system of 859 beds. Or 3 is direct staff to proceed with obtaining designs for option 2, construction of 2 pods for a total jail system of 984 beds, getting closer, quite close to what the sheriff prefers. So we're trying to get as many warm bodies physically to these meetings, either in North County or in South County, and to let people know that you're for option 1. And there's lots of arguments. I don't know how much people know and are engaged with this.
I think we want to say too, somewhere in what we say to the supervisors, the reason for cutting down the number of beds, the reason we believe we do not need 1,000 beds is because so many people in that jail have mental health problems. They're behavioral wellness folks. Some of them don't even really understand why they're in jail. So another piece of this is with the money that can be saved from not building 1,000 beds for our jail, we can have beds in the community to care for people with behavioral wellness illnesses and take care of them the way they need to be taken care of, rather than having them in a jail setting, which is punitive, really punishing for people with mental illnesses.
Yeah, I guess the other thing that's really important, I mean, we're doing this work because if you build the cells, the sheriff will fill them. And right now, he doesn't have the staffing to staff the 2 jails he has and the 750 people that are supposed to be served. So people are having their mental health visits, not privately, but by somebody coming and standing at the cell door and, talking where everybody else can hear. Nobody is getting mental health treatment. They may be getting their meds. They are supposed to be getting their meds, but they're not really getting any treatment, except for the IST people who are part of a group of only 10 at a time. And that's not really treatment. It's trying to get them in mentally good enough shape to understand the charges and to go to court. So it really isn't helpful. In fact, you spend 3 days in our jail, and especially in the old Santa Barbara jail, and you're going to be more traumatized than you were when you came in. Most of these people have addiction as well as mental health, and they're not getting the kind of help and wraparound services that the community needs to provide. The sheriff is down by, I can't remember if it's 40 or 60 custody deputies. So people aren't getting out to the yard for their exercise because there's nobody to take them there. They may have an appointment with the dentist and the dentist is sitting in the dentist office and nobody's being brought to them because there isn't somebody there to walk them there. So, and the Murray plaintiffs, the attorneys are really saying, you can't wait. You have to fix up enough treatment, enough beds to be ADA compliant and meet with the mental health and medical requirements of whoever you put in there. And that probably means you really need to reduce the number of people who are in the jail. So I think we're pretty sure that Doss Williams is only going to go for option one. There's enough, we think there's enough savings by bringing the number down so that the operating costs would come down and there would be sufficient money to actually, for the county to spend to operate the jail. So the more beds you have, the more custody deputies you need, the more staff you need, and the higher the cost of running the place. So the county doesn't really have that money, but they can add one pod. And we're hoping those would all be direct supervision beds where people are not monitored remotely, but there's a custody deputy on the floor with 64 residents, and they're trained to be mentors. We're told everybody is trained now for direct supervision. We have yet to see it, but they're supposed to be trained. So we think they can get the numbers down. The public defender has an early representation program that should start sometime this summer. The intake process should get geared up as soon as probation hires somebody to be in charge of this better intake process that should divert more people and send them to a hospital or to a crisis intervention center or to wherever there's a bed, or to get them housing and wraparound services. And maybe they be in electronic monitoring, a variety of ways of reducing the problem of these mental health people cycling over and over through the jail because they don't have somebody else somewhere else in the community to take them. So that's what we're aiming for. And we don't really know how Steve Labignino is going to vote. We don't know where Bob Nelson is on this. We know that they prefer having the beds built at North County. It's financially the only feasible thing, and housing is less expensive there, and it's more jobs for the community. So there's a lot of reasons why they're doing this. We just really want to resist building 1.5 pods or 2 pods and then not being able to staff them and not having the treatment that people need to have to get better and not go out again in the community. So we think it's safer to have fewer people in the jail and more people treated in the community. Are there questions?
Will you all come?
Yeah, well, I have a comment. Okay, I'm unmuted. And so Lawanda's here and Nadia, Jeannie, and I are here. So we've got a board member and all 3 staff. And when I look at something and I see the chief administrator at the county recommending something, and I see the league recommending something, and I see that it's in line with stuff that we've supported in the past, it seems like this would be something that we would support. I'm not the expert on how many beds we need and so forth, but I've enjoyed, I mean, I learned a lot hearing from Gail and Pam a bit on the topic, and reading what Gail, what you sent, which was the county administrator's report. And so it made sense to me. And we haven't had a board meeting. We have one in probably in 3 weeks from today, but that's too late for next Tuesday. And I don't know that we're going to need a board vote on what to say on this. Anyway, Lawanda's here, I think, and she hasn't got her hand up. And are you there, Lawanda? And otherwise, Nadia and Janie.
Yeah,
I,
I too would like to hear what LaWanda has to say, especially with her background in the public defender's office and being on our board, but it makes a lot of sense to me. It seems like I can't see any reasons why you would want to build more when you could build less, and building in North County makes a lot of sense. I'm not sure what's the how many beds do they have in South County right now, and how many do they have in North County?
It's around, isn't it around like 900 if it, that they're
So-
not using all those beds in South County?
they're probably trying to hold the numbers down somewhat. There's 749 people resident in the two jails. They're using 340 some in North County. And so they must be using 400. I think I forgot to grab my cheat sheet notes, but there have been around 400 and more, because they're running a total of 700 and around 750 on any given day. And they are not using, there are 32 more not rated beds that are in some kind of unit that's set aside for mental health and medical. And they're not using them at the moment. So they're not at total capacity. I think they haven't had the mental health staff. That's coming, we're told. So they're not using those units.
I'm sorry, what's the difference between rated and not rated beds?
Rated means the state has sort of approved them, that they meet some kind of state standards. And the sheriff always wants 15% margin. He wants 15% mostly empty in case there's suddenly a flux. And because people come in and they are gang related and they separate people who are in different gangs, or they know that there's problems, you can't put X with Y, and you're separating people. And so he wants that margin. Most jails, most prisons will live with a 10% margin, but he always wants 15. And so that's why he's probably going to argue hard for 1.5 or 2. And we expect him to bring the police chiefs from wherever he can find them who may support him. So we are expecting to hear some real opposition. On the other hand, we're hopeful that the board members understand the dynamics, that the sheriff is basically burning through money using overtime. And he's also burning out his staff because they are working way overtime. And some of them live very far away because we don't have housing for them.
Now they're sleeping in cars. They're commuting from Orange County even. They're sleeping on couches wherever they can. But I'm sure that, if looking at it from a worker perspective, and I think back to my father, who was happy to get all the overtime he could get because it meant he made better money. And he had a family to feed. And so that appealed to him. But at some point they burn out. They can't keep it up.
Yeah.
And we don't have housing. They can't go home to something comfortable. So I imagine they come and work 4 or 5 shifts and even double shifts as much as they can. And then they drive home for half a day and have 2 or 3 days off. It sounds like a tough life. We're having more trouble getting custody deputies than we are getting patrol officers. They apparently they tend to like doing the patrol work more than the custody work. And I can kind of relate to that too, in terms of feeling like you're getting somewhere and getting something done and not having to deal with icky stuff, taking care of people who have problems in rooms. It's icky stuff.
Yeah, I'm reasonably sure that the NAACP is with us on this. We've been in a lot of meetings with on the mental health issue, and the NAMI wants the money in the community. We want housing and beds, locked facilities, outpatient. We just need a hell of a lot more mental health. And if we get that, then we're likely to really reduce the number of people who cycle in and out of the jail. They call them familiar faces. And there is now a coordinated group of people who are coming together to really target this group who kind of get hauled in over and over again. It's extremely hard on the families when somebody's in jail. It means they're losing their job. They're not seeing their kids. They're not, home to support. Now you've got a single parent raising the kids. It's just really, it's a disaster for the families. So, and it's very unequal, because this is not a problem for the people who can afford to make bail and to hire a private attorney. But it's a real problem for those who can't and are relying on the public defender. And the public defender is doing an amazing job of working with all of their clients to see that they have housing and services and addiction treatment, and really wrap around everything they can do in order to make the case to the judge at arraignment that they can release them on their own recognizance, and they will come back for their hearings. The DA is not always helpful because they tend to overcharge. So the sheriff, you will hear this on Tuesday, will say 90% of the people in the jail are in for felonies, but there's a lot of overcharging. It doesn't mean they eventually plead to a felony. They're more likely to jack up the charges and get them to plead to something lesser. It doesn't mean the sheriff can't release them earlier. He certainly did during COVID. We were down as low as 550 people in the jails, between 550 and 600, which is where we want to be. And we think we can get, and crime didn't rise. Now, there's arguments that say, well, people were staying home and they weren't being brought in because they had COVID and they couldn't handle it in the jail. And so they had a lot of incentive to get them out. But the statistics don't show that we had an influx of crime during that period. So we know they can get it down if they want to. We know people have some choices as to whether they bring them to the jail or they bring them to a crisis stabilization center, or they bring them to a sobering center, or they take them to the hospital.
So when the sheriff's department was arguing for the North County Jail before it was built, they said that part of what they would do with the new monies was to do more of the community resources and alternative programs instead of just having housing people in jail. So I think that's, that may be something that should be brought up and say, this is what, the plan has always been, is to do alternatives and to have as few beds as possible rather than expanding the jail as much as possible. So I don't know.
Yeah, I wasn't here at the time, but I know the sheriff also wanted to build an additional facility that was really targeting mental health and medical, and lost that battle, so that they didn't expand the jail as much as he wanted at the time. But I don't think he could have staffed it in any case, and most of us don't think he can staff a larger jail than this. I mean, I think they're going to have to really work to staff up to what the limits here are. There's 728, which is just, it's within 25 people of what they have now. So they're going to have to staff up. But one of the advantages is when you build at North Branch, because they're in these larger direct supervision units, those are basically handled by 2 custody deputies, each one working a 12-hour shift. So it's one custody deputy to 64 people. And when they want to go out to the yard to exercise, they press a button and walk out. So there's no, and the distance between the classrooms, if there's a class going on of some kind, or the medical facility, those are all closer and easier to get to without so much escorting. So it will be a big advantage in terms of the staffing cost to add in the North Branch and shut down most of what's in the South County. So the South County would retain really people who are there up until arraignment. So that should be within 72 hours, but it's often 5 days. It can be a little longer.
So LaWanda has a comment or a question.
Oh, great.
Well, I just want to thank you all for an excellent presentation. Outstanding job, Gail and Pam. And you guys know I retired from public defender. And back in those days, we used to actually go to the jail to visit clients. And they did not have the capacity then. Sometimes you would wait like 3 hours to see a client, you know, which was just really very frustrating out of your day. And it's also frustrating for the custody deputy, although I guess they're trying to do a lot of things by Zoom now. And then I just wanted to ask, because you mentioned something about graded beds. What do you mean by that?
Rated. It means the state
Department of Corrections.
Department of Corrections says these beds meet the various requirements, and so you can use them.
Okay.
And so when they talk about 728, I think they're talking about 728 rated beds that would meet various criteria. I mean, they say they have over 800 rated beds, or they had over 800 rated beds altogether with the two jails. But in fact, we know they've had to close down because of the Murray lawsuit, almost all of the solitary, single cell.
Yep.
And that's really reduced, and that's a really good thing. And they've put big old padlocks on them so they can't use them. I mean, not much in the South County Jail meets earthquake standards and health standards and ADA and all the rest of it. I mean, they're still going to spend quite a bit of money on, that doesn't meet mental health
at all.
The renovations of the South County Jail are going to add up to 17.5 million roughly. And they can do that. They say they can do that in 27 months. So it'll still take a couple of years, more than 2 years, to complete those renovations. And in the meantime, they're just going to be juggling and moving people around and using parts of the jail we'd rather they weren't using. So the sheriff is going to have to bring the numbers down somewhat during the interim in any case. So I don't know whether anybody has an idea what your North County supervisors are thinking about this. We're thinking that Joan Hartman will be with us, but she hasn't really totally definitively said. I don't know how much pressure she's getting from the various police departments in North County, or from others. We know where DOS stands.
I have heard today that Joan wants to put a priority on mental health treatment beds. And if that's the case, I think she'll be on board with us with the jail. And I think
I don't
Florida
think
is
you
probably
can
there
count
too.
on-
Pardon?
I don't
Luanda?
think you can. I don't think you can count on Bob Nelson.
Probably not, but possibly not.
No, because he
Oh.
talks to the sheriff all the time, and they seem to have a good relationship.
You know, I did watch him
Uh.
during the budget hearings and the stories that the NAMI parents told about their kids in the jail. And at least I think he was listening because his facial expression suggested that he was. That doesn't mean that he'll vote to help those folks, but
So I wonder if our role as SBCAN, whether the board takes a position or not. I think we could always send out an email blast saying, we've been requested to let you know about the situation, come the Board of Supervisors addressing this issue, and here are the reasons for option one, and if you would feel inclined to call your supervisor or contact your supervisor, we would encourage that. I don't know, that's just my thought offhand.
Yeah.
Maybe I could hear from Nadia and Ken on that.
It would be helpful.
Gail, do you have something like that you could send me that we could forward out? Just written up about the issue and what option people want to support and all
Yeah,
that.
you know, I really encourage you guys to download the, my battery is gonna go out.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Anyway, I'd encourage you to look at the Board of Supervisors letter, because you can just cut and paste the comparative chart, but I think Pam and I can try to
we could come up with
Put a
something
few
and send you
talking
tomorrow.
points together
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
try
that
to
would
get
be
those to you.
helpful.
As
The-
you,
the
as you
letter-
know,
Short so
I'm-
people can read it fast.
my time is going into preparing for our forum on the pipeline on the same day, because I didn't realize, we didn't know then it was going to be the 16th for the Board of Supervisors on the jail. So we have this event going on at Direct Relief, and hopefully some SBCAN people will be there. And
Three
we'll
of
do
us
that
will-
anyway. So
Three of us will be.
Yeah.
A busy Tuesday.
Gail,
for
what,
sure.
when you say the board letter, do you mean the letter the league wrote to the board?
we haven't drafted our letter yet. We're working on it. And so is Clue. You can say that the League of Women Voters of Santa Barbara and Clue are both supporting the option one. And I believe NAMI is as well.
You just said you suggest that we download the board letter, and I'm not
Oh,
sure exactly what
this
that
letter
yeah.
that
So,
comes from the
I-
CEO that's in the agenda.
The board letter is the letter from the county executive.
Yes.
And I
Okay.
think, I
it's from
feel
the
like,
CEO.
I
you
will
know, we
find
can
that and
decide
just, I
among
will find
staff
that.
and with.
Wait, hold on.
Lawanda.
Sorry, I can't hear when both of you are talking at the same time.
But thank you. I just want to say that I think I think that staff, if Lawanda agreed, we could support the county executive's position, which is option one. That's what the league is suggesting. It's in line with everything we've ever talked about. And
I agree, Ken, and NAACP will be supporting
okay.
option one as well.
Great.
And so I appreciate Jeannie's coming up with a nuanced thing that we could maybe send something out that was in between, but maybe we need to bite the bullet and support the county executive and the league and NAACP and what I think we've done in the past. Staff.
Well, I agree with that, especially since we have a board member here who's saying that we should support it. And it does fall in line with everything that we have done before. So I think that makes a lot of sense. And I know that Joyce Howerton, when she was executive director of this organization, she was all for getting alternative, getting people out of the jails and into alternative resources to keep, the numbers down.
I can charge my phone.
I think it just makes sense that we would support it. I don't see any reason why we wouldn't.
All right.
Okay. Well, we'll appreciate it.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree too. We won't be able to be there because
You're gonna be.
Yeah, we're also planning to go to the oil event, but we can definitely send in something in writing.
And we will send out an action alert that
Okay,
says here's what we're saying about it, and here's a link to the county executive's report. And okay,
okay.
thank you, Gail, for bringing this up, and Pam for being here to help out on it.
Thank
Back to
you.
Nadia.
You're
Thank you.
muted, Gail.
We're,
We can't hear you, Gail.
we're
We've
glad
been
to have
working
you
on
with
this
us.
too long to not come to you and ask for your help.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
Okay,
You
Okay,
keep
cool. Well,
after us.
I'll look out for some talking points that we
okay.
could share out. And yeah,
Okay.
great. Any other questions for Gail or Pam? And if not, anything else folks want to share just in general with the group, we can open it up. Go ahead, Sarah.
I put in the link to the agenda and I'm now putting in the link to the board letter.
Oh, great.
Oh, you're
Thank you.
good. You're good,
Okay.
Sarah. That's quick.
Hey, I know where to find things with this bunch.
You are good.
Thank you.
Oh, come on. I put on some screenshot thing.
I'm gonna sign off because I'm afraid I was gonna lose power, and
Thank you, Gail, and we'll
Good
see you
luck
on,
out there
we'll
with.
see you Tuesday,
see you Tuesday.
in person. Finally.
Yes,
Okay,
okay, thank
Bye.
you.
Take
talk to
care.
you tomorrow.
Bye.
Hamilton. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, thanks everyone.
And don't forget to save your chats. Oh,
See you
I
next
wanted
time.
to mention. I'm fundraising for my trip, so if you guys are interested, please let me know.
Where can we go to contribute?
Hang on just a second. I've got to put board letter and then I'll put a link in.
Okay.
Sarah, will you
All right.
send me the chat and all that stuff, please?
You bet.
Okay, good night, everyone.
Night, Lawanda.
Night, Luanda.
Okay.
Bye, everyone.
Hey,
Hey, wait a minute.
Don't go yet. We got to get Sarah's link.
yeah,
Okay.
I know. I was gonna say one more thing to Lawanda, but she's gone, but it's okay.
She's gone.
I should say it to
Here.
my staff first. Anyway,
Here's our the link to Tino, which is our fiscal sponsor.
okay, thank you.
And save it again.
But if we
Okay.
want to contribute to you going,
Well, because it'll go to everyone, so it's, you might want to just put in Sarah, but I don't think that, just send it a donation, because we're gonna try to do that. I will find out how we do that on Monday when I go to the finance committee. Karen, it's good to see you, sweetie. Okay, I'm gonna save that again, and I get out of here in daylight.
Thank you, Sarah.
Okay.
Good to see everyone.
All right,
Bye,
thanks.
good
see you,
to see
Karen.
you,
Thanks for
Karen.
coming.
Good to
Thanks,
see you,
Sarah.
Sarah.
See ya.
All right.
okay, we're going to have a staff meeting now, or are we signing off?
We could have a staff meeting.
Find out where the money's coming for the mental health issue at the jail. That's like, where's that money gonna go? What's it gonna build? We need them
Yeah.
so bad.
Yeah, actually, I was going to ask about that. Where's the money coming from for the jail and for the mental health resources? I don't know.
Yeah.
There might be
That's
something in
the
that
thing.
board letter.
Because it would be nice to say, okay, yeah, we're building this many at the jail, but because we're only doing this much, we're putting the rest of it in here. We're building the mental health place.
Well, I wonder
so.
if they even have the money for the jail. I don't know.
Yeah, oh yeah, I don't know either. I don't.
It's a long board report from the county exec. and I
Yeah.
skimmed it and I was comfortable having skimmed it, yeah, we'd support that. But nuances, if I had to sit with Nelson or Lavanino and argue some point that they, they'd have to argue it with the county exec, not me. So I want to be, we support this
Right.
without going into a bunch of detail.
All of that, where you're finding the money from is, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Good night. Thank you.
All right. Thanks,
Karen.
Karen.
Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
You too.
And so we're done a few minutes early, so we could have staff meeting if we need one, and just to wrap up any details from this meeting. Like who's gonna do what after I opened my mouth and said, oh yeah, we could do this and do that. And Lawanda says, yep, that's right. And so one thing is I want to, I think, write to the board and sorry, Jeannie, but you said it was okay. I think we're gonna need to spend part of our anniversary day itself with our lovely board.
Oh, I think we should, because Janet has
Yeah,
her
Janet.
open houses she needs to go to, and Lawanda won't be able to make it. So we
And-
can
and
celebrate
Carla-
the next day. It's not.
And Carla can't make it either, so we'd lose two. And Janet said, well, I could come if it has to be, but it doesn't have to be.
No.
We love our board and we'll celebrate our anniversary with the board. I mean, hell,
Yeah.
I spent my
Kind
birthday
of fitting.
with everybody.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
well,
Yeah, no, that's fine. Actually, when I saw that from Janet, I said, yeah, we need to just keep the regular schedule.
there's three that I haven't heard from, I think, is unless in the last hour or two. Dick and Jonathan and Alan, I think I haven't heard from, but so I'm gonna write as soon as we ring off and say, we'll keep it where it is. So that gives us all another week to get our act together with our staff reports and whatnot.
Yeah, that's nice too.
Okay.
Nadia, do you have something that you can tell me sometimes when I move, there's some setting I've got on this camera that moves me around odd ways. And let me try.
Oh, I don't see it.
Let me stop my video and see if it does. No, it didn't do it right then. Just sometimes I'll shift and then it okay, so
Well, a little bit, your shoulders just shifted a little bit.
yeah, it brings me back over, but it does weird things. Like if I move up, then the camera is kind of like tracking me and
You must have an advanced camera.
And
don't
there's
know.
plenty of other people that I see the same thing.
I wonder if I take off HD. See that thing.
Oh,
Somebody called it the Monty Python effect. I come up, shoom.
it's got to be something in your video setting. I don't have that, so I don't know.
I just changed on here from HD to original ratio, and it did that thing. I'm going like, well, what is it? I'm looking on my video settings, and I don't see what I've got.
I don't have either of those checked.
Oh, you don't have either. Okay, and if I just take off HD, I still come. That's how I come onto a lot of meetings. I come up from the bottom. I'm like, I don't know what that's from. Okay. Okay.
you
Well, I was hoping you would have an answer for me.
Then you step
Give it
away
to
and
me
walk
again.
into, you step away and you walk into the dunes or into the Santa Maria River. So Alex is the fastest talker I've heard in a long time. And I'm glad I wasn't the first one to tease him about it, or maybe I didn't. Maybe I did a little bit, but it was noticeable and two or three other people said something. Anyway, whew, it was hard to, when you talk that, somebody talks that fast, I find it hard to follow. Unless you're Brian Troutwine and you have your 3 minutes and you're going to talk about this, and that, and blah, 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 and he wants to get it all on the record. But anyway, it's just my comment about Alex, and if he comes or whoever comes, I'm not going to tell him to talk slower.
Just listen faster. That's all.
Listen faster. Okay, anything else? Or who's gonna do what about what we just finished talking about? We're gonna draft a letter to the whole board, and that they're wanting us to write to, the two up here. And I'm more inclined to just write something that's this is SBCAN's comment
Yeah,
to the whole board.
Yeah, I think, when they send you talking points, if you can write up something that you can send to the board and say, we believe this is the position SBCAN ought to take, and see if there's any objections maybe, but otherwise,
Yeah.
I mean, we did say we're going to support it, but maybe we should just give them a chance to weigh in before we do send it. We still have till Tuesday.
I mean, yeah, I guess I don't have a ton of time tomorrow, and then it needs to be submitted by like noon on Monday, I think.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah. So I'm gonna write to the board now and tell them we're sticking with our normal date, the last Wednesday. We just had a roundtable. All staff and Lawanda were there, and we heard from Gail Osherenko and Pamphlet Tambo, who encourage us to support the recommendation of the county executive on this topic. And we're planning to do so by noon on Monday.
okay,
More information possibly to follow, although I'll include the link then to what, to the county exec's report. And if anybody thinks they take issue with that, I read that and I go, well, this makes sense. I support that. Okay.
okay,
All right, I'll
sounds
do that.
good.
Okay, and if they raise any objections, then we'll hold off and talk about it. Otherwise, we'll send a letter on Monday. By Monday at noon.
Cool. It might be Monday at 5, but I can't remember right now.
Okay.
But either way, Monday I have 3 different meetings, so it's hard to get anything done on Mondays, honestly.
I know. You got to meet with us, and then you got to meet with Dick, and then you got something else too.
Yeah. But it's all good.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, well, hopefully they send that early tomorrow, and then I can put a draft letter together and share it. I guess I could just share it to the board and then just say this is what we're going to submit and not necessarily ask for feedback. But just like as a heads up.
Yeah, I don't feel like if somebody decides they're going to raise a concern, then they can, and then we'll hold off and we'll talk about it, or say, well, we can't send a letter because one board member feels some other way, or then we have to take a vote. But I like when I think this is fairly cut and dried.
Yeah, I think so too.
So, we should just tell them here's the letter we're going to send, or tonight I'm going to tell them we're going to send a letter. If they have concerns, then we'll run the draft letter by them.
Okay, that's good actually.
Later, but if nobody has a concern, then Monday morning, or as soon as you can draft a letter, as soon as you get talking points and draft a letter. I don't know if we need their talking points to draft the letter, because the talking points, I think, can be drawn from the county exec's letter. The board letter I think it's got what we need.
Mhm. Okay.
All right. All right. Have a good evening.
Okay, you too.
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.